Welcome to a play-by-play review. I'm your host, Henry, and I almost forgot to do this episode tonight. Would have been, not the worst thing in the world, but a little bad. But yeah, we're going back into not the MLB, it's just Major League Baseball. It's unlike the NFL, the NHL, and the NBA. There, you don't need to put in a "the" in front of it. But yeah, we're going back to baseball for sort of week number 2, I guess this is. And technically not a full week because it's more like 6 days because I'm not covering since I started last Wednesday. But anyway, very pedantic about that. But yeah, we'll do the usual, go over the scores day by day, hit the highlights from what I can read and remember. And should be probably marking down some notes on some of these. And then just kind of going over some like stat leaders and all that and standings and whatnot. The usual. So we start actually back on, so we start on Thursday since I covered last Wednesday, I believe. Did I? I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I did. So yeah, we start on Thursday, and Thursday is really short because it was an off day for most major league teams. There's only 4 games scheduled, and one of them, the Blue Jays and White Sox game, actually did not happen. It got postponed due to weather. So it was made up the next day, actually. Don't know if they were originally supposed to, I don't think it was a doubleheader that day. I think it was just they might have had an off day or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was no Blue Jays White Sox that day. Instead, it was only 3 games. First was the Twins and the Royals. This was another good start from Taj Bradley. He actually I'm going to get to the game tonight, but Taj Bradley had a really good game tonight. Also had a very nice game this night, 6 shutout innings. Twins would win this one 5-1. Let's see if I can go to a box score here. Just to kind of check who scored essentially. Actually, it's probably better if I go Gamecast because that actually tells me exactly what happened scoring wise. So a lot of individual runs, a couple homers, 3 homers actually by the Twins, all in the 9th inning, to blow up their lead. They were leading 2-1. They're actually leading 2-1 into the 8th, or 2-0 into the 8th. They gave up 1 run in the also in the bottom of the 8th inning, then scored 3 in the 9th to really put it away. But yeah, it was pretty much in control the whole way around. And so the Twins took that one there. Was that the start or end of a series? Hang on. Got to check last week. That was end of a series, I believe. Let's see. Twins went, so that was regular season. There we go. Yeah. So they would lose. They had lost the first 2 games of that series, so they would avoid the sweep there, just refreshing myself on what had happened between the Twins and the Royals. So they took 1 of 2 against their division rival. And I believe that one was in Kansas City. So the next one was the Diamondbacks and the Braves. This one was, I think this was a start of a series. Yes, this is the start of a 4-game series between these 2 teams. And for Arizona, it did not start off on the right foot. I was actually watching this game when it happened. I forget what I was doing, but I might have been editing a video. I don't know. But yeah, I was watching this game, and it just, like, I basically tuned in right when the 5th inning happened, and the Braves put up 8 runs in that 5th inning. So they would go on to win 17-2 this game. It was bad. This is a game, actually, when I was commenting on it on Friday, so the next day, during that O's Pirates matchup, because in the 9th inning, Arizona put in a position player who was James McCann, backup catcher, to pitch, to save the bullpen arms and whatnot. And James McCann was former Oriole, played on the team in 2024. I forget if he played on them in 20. He might have been on the team in 2023 as well, but he was definitely there 2024. And up to bat at one point was Jorge Mateo, who was also former Oriole. I forget if he was part of a trade or just a signing by them. But he was on the Orioles for a while. Had an insane month of April back in like 2024, and that was like it looked like he was going to be just an all-star, and then he fell off after that. But he was like he'd always been just a utility guy, like really good defensive shortstop and incredibly fast. Like he was good pinch runner, would occasionally like blast a homer here and there, but was more of a contact guy, but also was not a very good batter. I still liked him though, but it was like he was not anything more than a utility type of guy. But he anyway, or Mateo homered off of James McCann. So that was like just Oriole on Oriole action now on both new teams. It was neat there essentially. But yeah, that was it. Like I think it was like 10-2 or something, or like 10-1 going into the ninth inning, and then Braves just tack on a bunch on a position player. So it was definitely the runs were inflated a little bit, but it was 17 runs on 16 hits, kind of crazy there. The last game of Thursday was the Mets and the Giants. Giants off to a really rough start. Got swept by the Yankees. Did actually win 2 of 3 against the Padres, who were also off to a pretty rough start, and actually started off. So it's funny, they actually started off with a win against the Mets. They won 7-2. They just have lost every game since. And that's actually, I think they're currently playing most of the games today. I'm recording this Tuesday night. It's actually now Wednesday. It's midnight now. A bit later than I meant to record this, but the Giants are actually up 4-0 against the Phillies in the going into the 8th inning. So they looks like they're going to get a game back here. Braves are up against the Angels 4-2. But I'll get to today's scoreboard here in a sec. But yeah, no, the Giants they got the win here. 7-2. Robbie Ray got the winning or got the win in the stat column as a pitcher. So it's like, I mean, again, it's really early, so it's not like you can say too much about the season so far. But yeah, it's the Giants took a turn for the worse after this game. After I think they improved to 3-4, and things were looking up for like a hot second. But anyway, we go to Friday the 3rd, and this was the start of a new series for a good number of teams. So the Red Sox and the Padres started a series. The Red Sox and both teams were not off to very good starts. And the Red Sox would actually come away with a victory here. They would win 5-2. And I believe this was a Sonny Gray start, actually, though so he got the win. Michael King, I believe it's Michael King. Yeah, Michael King got the loss there. And had homers from Marcelo Meyer and Wilson Contreras. The Red Sox had been on a 5-game losing streak up to this point, so they solved that there. But it was a battle of two teams who were not off to very good starts whatsoever. The Orioles and Pirates also play. The Orioles coming off of the series loss to the Rangers, though they had won the previous one. Pirates, who were coming off, I believe, a series win, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they're coming off a series win against the Reds. This one I streamed on my YouTube channel. This was a Shane Baz start, or no, this is a Shane Baz the next day. This is a Kyle Bradish start, and Bradish had a bad second inning, gave up, I think, 4 runs. Bullpen, Dietrich Enns, I believe, gave up 1 more run. He also wound up getting a foot infection while in Pittsburgh somehow. Not sure how that happened. Hopefully Enns is okay. But the O's would lose this one 5-4. I think Gunnar Henderson had a home run in this game. Gregory Soto, the former Oriole, got the save for Pittsburgh there. And it started a very rough series for the Orioles in the Steel City. The Dodgers and Nationals played. Ohtani and Kyle Tucker both hit home runs. Emmett Sheehan got the win there after a bad first start of the season. Had a much better overall start in his second start. But the Nats are kind of showing that they can hit. Like, I myself included, I think a lot of people were not very high on the Nationals. I mean, for good reason, but not very high on the Nationals coming into the season. But in the end, they were at this point they were 3-4. But they got some talent there. I think CJ Abrams right now is like the league leader in RBIs or something. So I don't know, keep an eye on the Nats, essentially. Moving on to a less high-scoring game, it was the Tigers and the Cardinals. Framber Valdez actually blanked the Cardinals. He had a really good game. I think I was actually watching this game while I was at work. But this was a Tigers shutout victory 4-0 over the Cards. So the Tigers snapped their 4-game losing streak. Cardinals dropped to 4-3 at this point. This was start of their series there. The Cardinals had won their first 2 series, 2 out of 3 both times before that. And, that big help from J.J. Weatherholt, Alec Burleson, some of those guys there who were really helping the Cardinals out in those first couple series. I know they didn't have great games because I have both of them on a fantasy team. They didn't have the most spectacular showings that game. Whereas the Tigers did what they kind of usually do. I feel like how they play baseball. Anyway, the Marlins and the Yankees, I believe, started a series as well around this time. The Yankees would win this one very convincingly, 8-2. Aaron Judge had a 2-run home run. Will Warren had a nice start. And this was in New York, I believe. And it was start to the season. Yankees were at this point 6-1, so they were off to a very, very good start there. The White Sox and the Blue Jays also played that makeup game from the day before to start their series. And, the White Sox coming off of getting swept by the Brewers in the series opener, losing 2 of 3 against the Marlins. They then proceeded to walk off the Blue Jays in 10 in their home opener. I believe also in this game, Alejandro Kirk went down with an injury, if I remember correctly. And I think also their starting pitcher, I don't remember, it was Dylan Cease. Okay, Cease didn't go down with an injury, but the Blue Jays have been dealing with a lot of injuries of various sorts to their starting pitching staff. And I think it got worse while I was in Chicago. So things have not been going well for Toronto at this point. Jeff Hoffman got the loss here, blew a save in, I guess, the 10th inning. And yeah, it only got worse for Toronto, which honestly I'm happy about. I'm also definitely taking a little bit of schadenfreude in watching Jeff Hoffman blow games after, if you know, as an Orioles fan. I'm just going to leave it there. The Reds and the Rangers started a series, I believe. Let me make sure. Yes, they started a series here. The Reds would win this one 5-3. That was the score. And they had a 3 home run game. I do not remember this game happening at all, I'm going to be honest. This is a game that kind of went over my head. I forgot they played. They had 3 home runs. Ellie De La Cruz. I think I actually did watch that or see that. Spencer Steer had a home run. Ellie De La Cruz had a home run. And what's his name? What's his first name? Give me a sec. It's their catcher. Stevenson is the last name. Hang on. ESPN. Why you're not? Okay, there we go. Full player for Tyler Stevenson. That's it. He had a home run. So Reds actually not off to a pretty bad start, or off to a pretty decent start. I think don't need to do a double negative there. Rangers, after winning that series against Baltimore, lose here. Both teams went to 4-3 after this one. The Guardians and the Cubs faced off in a start of the series here, leading to a Guardians victory in the start of the series 4-1. And also this is a game that I kind of remember happening. Chase DeLauder, also another home run. He's kind of going crazy. I think pretty clear front runner. Well, I think between him and Munetaka Murakami for AL Rookie of the Year at the moment. Through 2 weeks at this point. The Phillies and the Rockies played, and this one kind of went how you'd expect. Phillies won 10-1, had a 7-run first inning. I remember seeing that. I was like, oh wow, Phillies are. It's like, oh, it's 2-0. Oh, it's 5-0. Oh, it's 7-0, and it is not even through the first inning. Michael Lorenzen, it did not go well for him. He has a current 14.73 ERA. So yeah, I'm sorry, Rockies. I'm very sorry. The Rays and the Twins They played another game here. Twins would win this one 10-4. And I believe this is Rays had not yet at this point ventured home. But this was actually a series opener. So yeah, it was another series opener here. Twins would take that one with a big score there. And Tristan Gray had a homer. And Twins had lost their lost the season opener to Baltimore. Also lost series against Kansas City. So they get one back here. Had a big 7th inning. Put up, actually it looks like 7 runs in the 7th inning. So that really propelled them away there. And they advanced to 3-4 at that point. Rays fell to 2-5. They were off to a pretty rough start in that AL matchup. So we have actually an AL West matchup between the Mariners and the Angels. This was a 3-1 victory for the Mariners. This was, I think, a game that got carried pretty late into the game. Angels only managed to get 1 single hit the entire game, which is not great. Not great at all. It was literally carried scoreless into extra innings. And Mariners have scored 3 in the 10th, and Angels only scored 1. So Angels baseball, maybe not great. The Braves and the Diamondbacks play their second game of the series. The Braves would actually not win by nearly as much this time. They would blank the Diamondbacks, though. They would win 2-0. Ranger Suarez, or no, that's not Ranger. That's a different R. Suarez. Hang on. Robert Suarez. Very different Suarez. I think, or is that closer Robert Suarez? Yeah, that is closer Robert Suarez. He got the win, and I guess he got the win, but not the save. And I guess because Raisel Iglesias is the closer, I guess, but Suarez, I don't know. However, the Braves want to manage their bullpen. The 2-0 win. Ozzie Albies and Matt Olson had home runs. There you go. Diamondbacks had 2 hits. The Astros and the Athletics played. The Athletics actually demolished the Astros in this game, winning 11-4. Lawrence Butler had a 3-run home run, and it's like Athletics. I don't think anyone's expecting them to be good, but there's like just random games where they show up and just absolutely destroy the ball, and then there's other games where they show up and do nothing. So it's interesting there. Then the Mets and the Giants played in their second game of the series, I believe, if I remember correctly, from like 5 minutes ago when I was talking about this. Might be a little bit more than 5 minutes, probably like 10 minutes. But yeah, it's the second game of the series. And the Mets would win this one. They would win it. Come on, ESPN, please refresh. Thank you. 10-3. So they get it back. Nolan McLean got the win here. Rookie for Mets who pitched in the World Baseball Classic. So there was that. And then the Brewers and the Royals were also going to start a series, but it got postponed for rain to be made up, I believe, on a doubleheader the next day. What? The next day. Next day, which was Saturday, saw the Orioles and the Pirates play the second game of the series. I think this would have been Shane Baugh's start. And he gave up, I think, just 1 run, actually. He had a pretty good outing, all things considered. The O's were holding a 2-1 lead late into the game. O's gave up a run in the 8th, and then it was tied in the 9th, and things did not go great for Ryan Helsley and the O's defense. Those had a really bad defensive series in this game. I also forgot to mention that the day before, Connor Griffin, the number 1 overall prospect in baseball, was called up by the Pirates, made his debut in that game on Friday, got an RBI double. And he also played pretty well in this game as well. So the O's would lose the series to the Pirates, losing 3-2 in walk-off fashion. I was not happy when I was at work and listening to the game. It was rough. The O's were having some real struggles in Pittsburgh for some reason. The Padres would get one back on the Red Sox. There was a Ramon Laureano bloop RBI single in the 9th, according to ESPN. I feel like I remember seeing it, but I don't remember too much. Aroldis Chapman got the blown save, I guess it would have been a blown save. Probably, I think. I'd assume. Hang on. Gamecast. ESPN, help me. Stop being really slow to load. Yeah, it was a blown save by Aroldis Chapman, who has not gotten off to as good of a start as he was last year for Boston. He was insane for Boston last year. This year, not quite as much. Mason Miller got his third save of the season. He is insane. He's ridiculous. The Tigers and the Cardinals played another game here. The Tigers win this one 11-6. 4 home runs in the game. Let's see who homered for them. Kerry Carpenter. I think that's his name. That's his first name, right? Nope, that's wrong. Lineup. Yes, Kerry Carpenter. So I don't know why I was doing the so much. I just watched the Mario Galaxy movie on Sunday, so I have the Rob thing stuck in my head. But yeah, I might do an episode on this Saturday on the Mario Galaxy movie because it was really fun. But yeah, so Kerry Carpenter homered. I was about to say Kool-Aid McKinstry, but that is a completely different person. Zach McKinstry homered. I'm just all over the place today. Gleyber Torres and Matt Vierling also homered late in the game to extend the lead. I think I had Gleyber Torres on my bench when it happened. I have Ketel Marte as my second baseman, and my DH slot is a bit occupied with some other guys. So I don't want to take Gleyber Torres or don't want to take Ketel Marte out because I picked him 14th overall. But yeah. It's like I want to put Torres in because he's been playing well. But anyway, so yeah, Tigers win 11-6 here. This gave them the win in the series over the Cardinals. Next up is the Brewers and the Royals. In their first game of the doubleheader, this one went to the Brewers in a 5-2 win. Chad Patrick got the win there. Tyler McGill got the save. 5 runs on 10 hits. Kansas City, 2 runs on 8 hits, which is not great there. So yeah, that's Brewers off to a really nice start. They were 6-1 at this point. Blue Jays and the White Sox would play again. Munetaka Murakami, that's his name, had another home run, and the White Sox won again. They took. Was this a 4-game series? No, it was a 3-game series. It was just one of the games got postponed, but that was it. But yeah, they took the series here against Blue Jays. Things were not going well. I forget. I think it was in the game before this, but it was in one of these games. The Blue Jays had this comedy of errors on trying to throw people out, and it was embarrassing for Toronto. They did not know how to play baseball or field or defense or anything correctly. It was kind of sad to watch for Blue Jays fans. It was really funny to watch as a fan of a rival. Dodgers and the Nationals. Dodgers would take the series, winning 10-5 on 16 hits. So the Dodgers being as good as advertised. Freddie Freeman and Andy Paez. Andy Paez, I think, in this series had one of the best series of anyone ever. He was just going off. I would just check my fantasy because I also had my team, and he had 10 points one week or one day, then 11 points the next day. It was crazy. And so yeah, for as much as I think the Nationals are not horrible, the Dodgers are a completely different animal. Speaking of big scores, the Athletics and the Astros play. The Astros would get their win back against the Athletics, putting up 11 runs against them instead of the 11 runs given up the previous day. They would also shut out the Athletics. Tatsuya Imai, after putting up a pretty bad start in his first career outing, was much better this time, obviously. And yeah, this is more to be expected for how these two teams in their current states should have played. In terms of the Yankees and the Marlins, Marlins actually had a good chance at winning this. They had 15 hits, scored 7 runs. The problem was that their pitching staff gave up 9 runs to the Yankees on only 6 hits. This is one where Giancarlo Stanton had a stolen base first time since 2020, and then advanced on a wild pitch, and then basically advanced to third on a pass ball, and then I think stole home basically on a wild pitch. It was crazy. You're never going to see that with Giancarlo Stanton of all people, but that was what happened. So I don't like the Yankees. I hate them actually. I'm not a fan of them at all, but that was really funny. So the Yankees would take that series there against Miami, advancing to, at that point, 7-1. The Reds and the Rangers played again. Reds would win this one 2-0. Again, this game happened, I guess. I feel like no one ever talked about it. It was just kind of there. There's an Ellie De La Cruz RBI and what's his name? Sal Stewart, who's another one of the rookies having a good time. He had an RBI as well. It's 2-0 Reds Rangers. Like, I'm sorry, I wish I could say more about it, but I do not remember seeing anything from this game at all. Anyway, the Rays and the Twins played as well in their second game of the series. The Rays would get one back here, winning 7-1. Steven Matz had a really nice outing. What is your name? Mick Abel did not have a very good outing at all. His ERA now, he's 0-2, has an 11.05 ERA. Jonathan Ronda had a 2-run double. So, yeah, it's not a good showing from the Twins in this game. Both teams would advance or fall to 3-5 after this. The second game of the doubleheader between the Brewers and the Royals would go to Kansas City as they would win 8-2. Nick Mears had a very nice performance. His ERA still at a solid nothing. Let's see, was he a relief pitcher? Okay, no, he's a relief pitcher. It's like I see the win stat for the pitcher, and I usually think starter, but that is not the case. Brandon Sproat, who was a starting pitcher for the Brewers, did not have a very good outing at all. Through 3 2/3 innings pitched, gave up 4 hits, 4 runs, all 4 earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. So not a great outing there whatsoever. Let's see, who scored for Kansas City? Was there anything big? He had a 6th run, 6th inning, which is pretty big. And just a lot of RBIs, like a good chunk of RBIs. So good team hitting baseball there for Kansas City. Then the Braves and the Diamondbacks would play. The Diamondbacks would not get swept as they would win 2-1, though still the Diamondbacks offense has struggled a good bit here to start the season. Michael Soroka, who's off to a really nice start, he was the one who had the immaculate inning last week. He won his second game of the season. 5 innings pitched, gave up his first run of the season, but only 1 run. Walked 3, struck out 10 in that game against Detroit. His first game, that was crazy. So yeah, the Diamondbacks got their win there. Then the Phillies and Rockies played. This game was much less one-sided. Jesus Luzardo bounced back after a really bad start to begin his season. Won the game here. Johan Duran got a save, though the Phillies would win this one 2-1. So, yeah, it's much closer than it was the time before. The Mets would shut out the Giants in their game here. Clay Holmes got the win. Advanced to 2-0, 1.42 ERA, so he's having a nice start of the season there for New York, the other New York team. And yeah, the Giants, is not going well for them. They had their 1 win, and this is a 4-game series against the Mets. And the day after, tomorrow, or well, not tomorrow, it's Sunday essentially. Tomorrow after when this game happened, the next day after this game, yeah, that Sunday, it got worse for the Giants as well. They would lose the series and continued to lose after that. The Angels and the Mariners played late in the day. The Angels win this one 1-0. And it might have been this game, might have been the next game, but Mike Trout would unfortunately get hit in the hand. And yeah, that's never good, especially to Mike Trout. So hopefully he's going to be okay. But yeah, he got hit in the hand with a pitch. I think it was this game. I'm 99% sure it was this game. Let me double check the Sunday scores because it was definitely this game. Joe Adell, the outfielder for the Angels, had not 1, not 2, but 3 home run robberies in this game. It was kind of crazy. Like he was Spider-Man in this game. It was ridiculous. And then also the Cubs and Guardians, they had a rain delay, so they were playing Sunday. I think it was a doubleheader. So yeah, we moved to Sunday, and this was Easter Sunday, so happy Easter to those who celebrate. And for the Orioles, if anyone remembers last year for Easter Sunday, they played the Reds last year and lost 24-2. So the Orioles, it's kind of, you can only go nowhere but up in this game. And it got to the second inning. It was a Chris Bassett start, who's not off to a very good season for the Orioles. And it definitely looked like we might have gotten a repeat of that 24-2 outing because he gave up 6 runs in the second inning. It was not good. The Orioles got 2 back, but would lose this one 8-2, get swept by the Pirates. That was very frustrating. So it was not good. So yeah, Ryan O'Hearn had a home run in this game for Pittsburgh, and I was very bittersweet about it because I like O'Hearn a lot. Unfortunately, he homered against the Orioles in this one. The Red Sox and the Padres concluded their series as well, if I remember correctly. I think it was a 3-game series. Yes, it was. And the Red Sox would lose, as they have done a lot this season. They would fall to 2-7 after this. They would lose 8-6. Both Manny Machado and Jackson Merrill homered, which is nice because I had both of them on my fantasy team. I had a really good week in fantasy this past week. So yeah, the Padres would win this one 8-6. Mason Miller got another save. So he's at this point already up to 4 saves. And he might have got another one even in the next 2 games, but I feel like would have pitched a lot. So yeah, like Mason Miller's just really good. The Cubs and the Guardians in their game 1 of the doubleheader would net a 1-0 victory for the Cubs. It was Caleb Thielbar who got the win there. Obviously did not give up a run, only gave up 1 hit actually. So it was Cubs won on 1 run on 2 hits. Guardians only had 1 hit, so 3 total hits in this game. There was an RBI single was what did it. So yeah, not much offense there. The Dodgers and the Nationals. Dodgers would sweep the series against the Nats, winning 8-6. So again, Dodgers just kind of doing what they usually do. But again, Nats offense was putting up numbers. It's their pitching staff just is not very good. CNL Perez got the loss there for the Nats. I always forget he's on the Nationals now. He's a relief pitcher, former Oriole. That's why I know him. But he's up to a 20.25 ERA, which is not good. Edwin Diaz also got his 3rd save of the year, so he's another guy who's having very good success out of the bullpen. The Marlins would not get swept by the Yankees, as they would edge out the Yankees 7-6 in this game. And there was let's see, what was the big thing that happened in this game? It was like a big late surge. Yeah, the Marlins scored 4 runs in the 8th inning. That's what it was. So kind of a meltdown for the Yankees bullpen. Cost them, at that point, their second loss, because I think it was their second loss. Second loss of the season. The Brewers and the Royals concluded their series with, at that point, it was split, I believe, if I remember correctly. It was split because of that doubleheader. Duh. And this is a victory that went the Royals, or not the Royals, 50-50 shot, and I read it wrong. It went the Brewers' way. They would win 8-5. William Contreras, the other Contreras, had a home run in this game, or double and 2 RBIs. It was leading me to say home run, but I was wrong. I apologize. But yeah, 8-5 there for the Brewers. The Rays would take the series over the Twins, winning 4-1. Brian Baker got saved there. Or I guess the win. I feel like he should have gotten saved, but I guess not. I guess they didn't pitch him. I feel like I saw a clip of him getting a save, but maybe that was a different game. By a former Oriole, Brian Baker, got the win there. Was traded to the Rays. Oh my God! They traded for a first-round pick in 2025. It was like a competitive balance pick, and the guy that the Orioles picked, I think that was the I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but I was gonna say Leo DeVries, but that's a different guy. It's like he's got one of those like 3 set names, but anyway, oh my God, I've just lost my train of thought. But he was traded back to Tampa Bay along with the other first round pick that the Orioles had, and I think some other prospects for Shane Baz. So it's full kind of basically the Orioles traded Brian Baker included for Shane Baz in the end. Not just him, but like he was included eventually in the package deal for Shane Baz there. Anyway, very long-winded non sequitur. Back to scores. Blue Jays and the White Sox would conclude their series with the White Sox, of all teams, sweeping the Blue Jays, winning 3-0 here. That was very surprising. And yeah, Davis Martin got the win there. 2-0 on the season with 2.45 ERA. Blue Jays had 6 hits in this game, but could not score a run. Very interesting. Very, very interesting there. Blue Jays having a rough stretch at the moment. The Reds and the Rangers played again in a game that the Reds would win 2-1. Reds had 9 hits. Rangers had 6 hits. What was going on in this series? It's very, very interesting. I think that's all I'm going to say. The Rockies would take one against the Phillies. Mickey Moniak had 2 home runs. Tomoyuki Sugano is actually off to a pretty nice start for Colorado, surprisingly enough, which is cool because I like Tomo. He was on the Orioles last year. And so the Rockies win this one 4-1. So avoid the sweep and improve to 3-6, though they would still lose the series. The Athletics and Astros had batting practice in this game. Brent Rooker had a walk-off home run in the 10th inning. I think he had 2 homers. And of course, I had him on the bench, but I won. I was up by like 100 points at that point in my fantasy game. But it was like, if you have Brent Rooker on your fantasy team, you would know. Basically, every game outside of 2 this season, he's had negative points, but he's just struck out so many times. And literally both times he's been in the positives, I've had him on my bench. It's because he's been so bad otherwise. It's kind of frustrating. But yeah, this is a 12-10 extra innings victory. It's kind of nuts. And that was a series win, actually, for the Athletics, if I remember correctly. Series win over a division rival. So it's pretty crazy there. They're now playing the Yankees. They lose today. But for at that point, taking 2 of 3 over the Astros got to feel pretty nice for the Athletics there. Then the Mets and Giants concluded their 4-game series, as I hinted earlier. This went the Mets' way. They would win 5-2. Huascar Brazoban, I believe that's who it is. It's such a cool name. Yeah, Huascar Brazoban was the winning pitcher there, relief pitcher for the Mets. 4-run 8th inning for the Mets to come back and win against the Giants and take 3 of 4 in that series. Giants at this point fell to 3-7. Angels and Mariners played in this game, and this was a sack fly 11th inning victory for the Angels, courtesy of Nolan Schanuel, winning 8-7 and netting the series for the Angels, I believe, because I don't think they played another one. I think this is the conclusion of the series. Come on, ESPN, help me out here. This was a series victory for the Los Angeles Angels, who are surprisingly not terrible this year. They're so far, at least. Jose Soriano, especially, he's been off to a crazy good start. So, again, very early in the season, things could obviously change, but don't count out the Angels quite yet. This could be interesting. The Diamondbacks and the Braves concluded, I guess it would have been a 4-game series at this point, with the Diamondbacks actually evening up the series, winning this one and splitting it down the middle, 2-2, losing the first 2, winning the second 2 for Arizona. They would win that one 6-5 in extra innings as well. I need to stop clicking on the box score because the box score it was a Ketel Marte double. That's what it was. That was a walk-off Ketel Marte double in the bottom of the 10th inning. The Phillies and the Rockies. Phillies would win this one 2-1. Hang on. I'm on the wrong day. Why did it bring me back to Saturday? That's weird. I was going to say, I already concluded that series. The Cubs and the Guardians played the second of their 2 double. Did I cover the first one? Oh, yeah, that was the 1-0 victory. Yeah. The Guardians win this one in the second doubleheader, or second game of the doubleheader, 6-5. A lot more offense in this one. Is that Jacob Webb? Jacob Webb's on the Cubs? Yeah. Jeez. That's a name I haven't heard in like a year and a half. Was also on the Orioles for like a little bit in 2023. Jacob Webb got the loss there for the Cubs. That's just why I saw him. Split doubleheader there between the Cubs and the Guardians. Then finally for Sunday, the Cardinals and the Tigers played, and the Cardinals wouldn't win this one. And I guess they avoided avoided the series sweep as they would win that one 5-3. That is, I think they had a 4-run inning according to ESPN. 4-run 5th inning. That was, what's your first name? Ivan Herrera had a 2-run home run and helped stave off that sweep against the Tigers, who I believe actually lost today with Tarek Skubal starting, which is pretty interesting. Who do they play? They played the Twins. Yeah, that's who it was. But I'll get to that in just a little bit. Try and speed through this as we're getting a little bit up there in time. But there are like a few less games on Monday. Slightly fewer, I guess. But yeah, I will. Let's just speed through this real quick. So the Brewers and the Red Sox got started. Brewers would win this one 8-6, and I believe it was in this one that William Contreras got hit by Brandon Woodruff, I believe, and was like getting real fussy about it because I guess he's been hit a lot by Woodruff in the past, and then he slid into Trevor Story, I think. It was like whoever was covering second base for the Red Sox and like slid into it hard and like split his pants with his cleat. It was not a very nice scene to look at. But yeah. The Orioles and the White Sox would start a series in Chicago. Orioles would win this one 2-1. Brandon Young got called up from AAA to make a spot start, given the injury to Zach Eflin, which is unfortunately looking to be Tommy John. Really sucks. I think Eflin at this point has been transferred to the 60-day IL, so yeah, it sucks there. But yeah, the Orioles win this one 2-1. I think who even scored? I don't even remember who scored for this them in this game. This was not the most. It was a bit frustrating to watch offensively. So there's a Tyler O'Neill RBI and then a Gunnar Henderson home run. Henderson's actually kind of lit it up a little bit lately with the bat, which is good to see. But it was honestly a pretty nice start from Eric Fetty, who was technically not the starter. I think they had an opener, and then Fetty came and pitched after that. But overall, he couldn't get much run support. Brandon Young pitched a really nice game. Ryan Helsley got the save for the Orioles, so that was nice there for the O's to get back on track after getting swept by the Pirates. The Rays and the Cubs would have Rays had their home opener, first time back in the Trop in a good while. And this was the Brian Baker save that I was thinking of. Rays would win this one 6-4. I think Cedric Mullins over in this game. So it's Cedric Mullins had a 2-run home run in the second inning. So it's very Orioles coded victory for the Rays here. Cedric Mullins homering and Brian Baker getting the save. It's like 2022 Orioles all over again. The Royals and the Guardians would play in an AL Central matchup. The Royals would win 4-2 on 11 hits. So maybe not the most efficient offensive outing for Kansas City, but they got the win. So I don't think they're going to complain all that much. There was Jonathan India had a pretty nice game. He had a homer and an RBI. And let's see, what is your first name? Carter Jensen. He also had a home run for Kansas City there. And that was, I think that's the first of a series between these three, if I remember correctly. First of the series there between those rivals. Then the Reds and the Marlins would start a series. Reds would win this one 2-0. Blanking the Marlins there. And I'm just going to start going up a little bit faster. I might not focus too much on the details. Padres and the Pirates would start a series. Padres would win this one 5-0. 5 runs, 11 hits for the Padres there. So a couple shutouts here on Monday night. I'm pretty sure these were both night games. Cardinals and Nationals would start a series. Nationals would win this one 9-6. Cian Perez actually got the win here, which is pretty nice. As a former Oriole. Dodgers and the Blue Jays would play. Dodgers would absolutely destroy the Blue Jays in a World Series rematch, 14-2. So, yeah, I think this is also Max Scherzer. Actually, I do remember this one. He went down with some kind of injury in this game. There's also, over the weekend, Juan Soto went down with an injury. He was pulling up a little bit when he was running the bases. I think he's still day to day. Is Juan Soto? Forgot to mention that because I forgot. It went in and out of my head. But yeah, that's when I'm looking at it. It's like, oh yeah, Max Scherzer did get injured in this, so that's very unfortunate. They're just more bad luck, injury luck for the Blue Jays in their starting pitching staff because they've already had 4 of them, I think, go down with injuries at this point. It's rough. Twins and the Tigers played. The Twins would win this one 7-3. Joe Ryan got the win here. And that is another divisional matchup there between the two. Actually, a decent number of divisional matchups in this because we get to the Mariners and the Rangers AL West divisional matchup. The Rangers win this one 2-1. Mariners off to a pretty rough start, all things considered. Not a great. They're 4-7 at this point after this game, and I think they lost today as well. Let's see. Scoreboard. Can you tell me if the Rangers or the Mariners lost? Yes, they did. They lost 3-2. And I'll get to that in just a little bit as well. I'll recap it again. So yeah, Mariners not off to a great start at the moment. Rangers win this one 2-1. Astros and Rockies played. Rockies actually win this one 9-7. Astros had 13 hits. Rockies had 12. So that's it's quite the game there. Very much a batting practice type of game. So Astros pitching. I'm pretty sure this was a Lance McCullers start also. So Astros pitching has not quite been the best so far, I'd say. Braves Angels would play. Angels would win this one 6-2. This was Jose Soriano's third start. He's 3-0 so far with a .45 ERA. So he's that's crazy. I don't know if he's going to keep it up, but what a start for Jose Soriano. And then finally, the Phillies and the Giants would play. Phillies would win this one 6-4. Both teams had 11 hits. Giants fell to 3-8, so nightmare start for the Giants. That brings us to technically yesterday at this point, but the most recent day of baseball. Orioles would win against the White Sox 4-2. They actually came back to win this one, if I remember correctly. I should remember this because it happened not even 12 hours ago. But yeah, the White Sox put up 2 in the second off of Trevor Rogers. He was not helped all that much by his defense, mainly Taylor Ward. I mean, there was basically a play in the outfield that Taylor Ward was trying to make on a pop-up that was kind of out of his reach. It would have been close, but he barely missed it and basically face planted in the ground. So it was more funny than anything else. And it's funnier now since the O's won, so it didn't matter in the end. But yeah, the O's would put up 3 runs in the 8th inning, including a Gunnar Henderson home run, 2-run home run actually, to eventually get them the win. Ryan Helsley got another save, so it was really outside of the one performance he had against Pittsburgh back on Saturday, which even then part of it wasn't really part of it. Some of it was his fault, part of it wasn't, and even then it wasn't a blown save. So already 4 saves for Ryan Helsley so far as an Oriole, so that's still going to be a really nice signing for them. The Brewers and the Red Sox would play here. The Red Sox would actually win this one. Finally getting back on the win train. Aroldis Chapman had a save. They would win this one 3-2. That was still a very close game. The Braves and the Angels actually still currently playing as I record this. They're in the top of the 9th. Braves are up 5-2 at this point. So most likely the Braves are going to win that one. The Royals and the Guardians would play. Guardians would win 2-1. Royals only got 1 hit total. Cade Smith had a good outing there for Cleveland. So the Guardians actually 7-5 at the moment. Brewers also 8-3. So there's some of the top teams actually over there in the Midwest. Mets would defeat the Diamondbacks 4-3. Mets 7-4 also. Diamondbacks 5-6. So they're not off the greatest start in the world. Luke Weaver, is he a starter or is he a reliever? Okay, he's a reliever. For some reason I thought he was a starter, but I guess I'm thinking of someone else. Paul Sewald got the loss as well. I think this was this did he blow the save there? Hang on a minute. I do have to investigate. Because this was, I had MLB Big Inning on, but I feel like this was an earlier game. And this was one, Mets actually won this one in extras. They won in the 10th inning. So yeah, Paul Sewald, not sure why the Diamondbacks still have him as a closer or like, high leverage reliever type of guy, because he has not seemed to play all that well. But yeah, there's that. The Cubs and the Rays played. This time the Cubs would win 9-2. I'm on the right day. Yep, I'm on the right day. So that was 9 runs on 16 hits. So the Cubs were going off that that game. The Reds would actually come back and win against the Marlins in this game on yesterday, when I'm calling it today. I think this is actually another Sandy Alcantara start, and he was into the 9th inning. He was through 8 1/3, I think, and gave up like a walk and then a single or something like that. He put 2 on, and then the manager took him out, and the entire stadium was booing, and then the closer blew it, and then they lost in extras. So that was that's a yikes, because Alcantara pitched a complete game the start before that, so it's not like he couldn't do it, but it was not a good look there for the Marlins manager. Not gonna lie. The Padres and the Pirates would play, and the Padres, not so great start to the season continued, as the Padres would kind of demolish them 7-1. This was a Paul Skeens start, so after the initial start of the season, that was very bad. But again, part of it was not really his fault. Part of it was O'Neal Cruz being very much played out of position in center field. Skeens has definitely turned it around to this point. He's still got a 5.25 ERA, but that is really buoyed up by his initial start to the season. It's gone a lot better since he's won his last 2 starts. The Cardinals and the Nationals would play. This was a 7-6 victory for the Cardinals. This was also, was this an extra innings game? Yeah, it was. It was would have been 5-5 going into the 10th inning. Cardinals put up 2. Nats only put up 1. JJ Weatherholt had what would wind up being the game-winning RBI. So big one there. So again, Nationals offense putting up some good runs. Pitching staff is not doing them many favors. The Yankees would come back to win against the Athletics. The Athletics were leading them 3-1 at one point. And then I think it was I tuned into it for a little bit. And the 8th inning, the Yankees put up 4 runs. They had a Ahmed Rosario 3-run home run, which really sealed the deal. And then the A's just couldn't do anything after that. So Yankees would get the win there. They are now 8-2 at this point, because we're now all caught up in terms of days at least, and just got a couple more games left to go. The Dodgers and Blue Jays would play. Dodgers would win this one 4-1. This was a Yoshinobu Yamamoto start. Edwin Diaz got another save there. Twins would beat the Tigers 4-2. Justin Topa got the save there for the Twins. Taj Bradley had a really nice game. Tarek School actually got the loss. He's actually 1-2 on the season right now, which is a bit surprising given his, he's reigning Cy Young in the American League. But again, not too much run support for him either. On 9 hits, I might add. So it's not the best day overall for the Detroit Tigers. Mariners would lose against the Rangers 3-2. I don't think this was an extra innings game or a walk-off or anything like that. I think it was, it was a save for the Rangers in the top of the 9th. They scored 3 in the 5th, and basically there was a 1 run for the Mariners in the 1st, then 1 run at the top of the 5th, 3 in the bottom of the 5th for Texas, and then no runs after that. So it was definitely more of a pitching duel there for that matchup. Then the Rockies I actually didn't realize they beat the Astros. The Rockies beat the Astros 5-1. Did they take the series? Hang on a minute. I think they might have took the series. I'm just realizing that. They did. They've actually won the first 2 against the Astros. So they're playing tomorrow. That's crazy. The Rockies won that one 5-1. And then also the Giants would actually get a win back against the Phillies, winning that one 6-0. So the Braves and the Angels are still playing. There's runners on 1st and 3rd, nobody out in the top of the 9th. Braves are batting. I guess it is. It's in LA, so it's Braves are looking to tack on some more runs here to try and win that one. So let's go quickly to let's go to the standings real quick. just to give your division leaders. So Yankees leading the AL East at 8-2. Orioles currently tied at second at 5-6 of the Rays. Blue Jays 4-7. Then Red Sox at last with a 3-8 record in the AL East. Guardians leading the AL Central at 7-5. And then the Royals at 5-6. Twins also at 5-6. And then White Sox and Tigers both 4-7. The Rangers currently leading the AL West at 6-5. Angels also at 6-5, though that could change here in just a moment. Astros 6-6, Mariners 4-8, Athletics 3-7. Over the National League, Mets leading the East by 1 game at 7-4. Then the Marlins, Phillies, and Braves are all at 6-5, though the Braves could certainly change that. That's going to change here in just a moment, one way or the other. And the Nationals currently sitting at 4-7. The Reds are leading the NL Central, actually tied in the NL Central with the Brewers, both at 8-3. Pirates 1 game back at 7-4. Cardinals 2 games back at 6-5, and then the Cubs 3 games back at 5-6. Then finally in the NL West, the Dodgers are leading that division, no surprise, 9-2. Diamondbacks, Rockies, and Padres are all 4 games back at 5-6, and then the Giants are 5.5 games back at 4-8. In terms of stats, just to see what ESPN says, Andy Pages leads Major League Baseball in batting average at 452. I know he's having a really nice start to the season. Chandler Simpson second at 405. Xavier Edwards. Pages also plays for the Dodgers, because I should say the teams. So Pages on the Dodgers, he's an outfielder. Chandler Simpson plays for Tampa Bay. Xavier Edwards for Miami, I think he's a shortstop at 390. Ryan O'Hearn for Pittsburgh. He's an outfielder, first base DH. Leads or is 4th at 389, or tied 4th actually, and then TJ Rumfeld on Colorado also at 389. Pitching leaders in terms of wins, I guess Jose Soriano is 3 for the Angels, Aaron Ashby 3 for the Brewers, Sandy Alcantara 2 for the Marlins, and I'm assuming this is pretty much up to date. Max Fried and Trevor Rogers also have 2 for the Yankees and Orioles. Home run leaders, it is Shea Langoliers for the Athletics, Chase DeLauder for the Guardians, Drake Baldwin for the Braves, all at 5. Then Ian Happ and Yordan Alvarez, and probably some others at 4. Happ for the Cubs, Alvarez for the Astros. Let's see. CJ Abrams leads the league in RBIs with 14 for the Nationals. Christian Walker for the Astros, Garrett Mitchell for the Brewers, Drake Baldwin for the Braves, all tied at 2 with 13. Then on the list, at least, it's Freddie Freeman for the Dodgers at 12. Save leaders, David Bednar for the Yankees has 5, Emilio Pagan, Edwin Diaz, Jordan Romano, and Ryan Helsley, and maybe some others. But Pagan for the Reds, Diaz for the Dodgers, Romano for the Angels, and Helsley for the Orioles all have 4. Hits leaders, Andy Pages has 19. Yandy Diaz for the Tampa Bay Rays has 17. Chandler Simpson also has 17. Xavier Edwards 16. Willie Abreu for the Red Sox also at 16. Strikeouts, Jacob Mizorowski for the Brewers leads the league with 28. Kevin Gossman for the Blue Jays has 26. Gavin Williams for the Guardians 25. Christopher Sanchez for the Phillies 23. Then Taj Bradley for the Twins 22. Let's see, stolen bases, we can do that. I'll end that off there. Bobby Witt for the Royals and Nasim Nunez for the Nationals are tied with 7. Nico Horner for the Cubs. Jacob Marcy for the Marlins. Both have 5. And then Bryce Terang for the Brewers has 4. I'll do quality starts. Why not? Because that's the last stat listed on here. There's a lot of guys with 3. So Max Fried, Sandy Alcantara, Trevor Rogers, Jose Soriano, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. All with 3 listed. There's probably some more as well. But yeah, I think that will do it. What does ABS Challenge Tracker say? I'm just curious what this is. Oh, it's like successful challenges and stuff. Yeah, I'll save that for another time. But yeah, that'll do it. I basically hit the hour mark, so that's kind of what I like to shoot for. So yeah, that'll do it for this week in baseball. Braves are now up 7-2 against the Angels in the now going to the middle of the ninth. So once again, Braves are most likely going to win that game unless the Angels are able to make a spirited comeback. But yeah, that will do it for this episode. I'll probably put out an NFL recap, the AFC South recap. Probably, when do I want to do it? Because I want to do Saturday as my Mario Galaxy. I might also talk about Mall Shadow Lord as well, just because like stuff I've watched recently. I might do an episode. I'll do that Saturday. Definitely, I want to do that Saturday just to finally get off sports for a sec on this podcast. But I'll do my AFC South recap probably Thursday or Friday, one of the two. Expected around then, and that's like in my mind. That's what I'm going to record. It's probably going to be that night and then get posted like the following morning. Like around this time because I'm thinking this is a Tuesday night podcast, but this is now Wednesday morning, so it's more of a getting posted on Wednesday type of thing. But yeah, that's my philosophy at this point. I just recorded a bit later than I was initially planning on because I almost forgot. But anyway, yeah. So expect 3 episodes this week, including this one. Then obviously next week will be more baseball. And then I know next Saturday I will not be, well, we'll see what happens actually. Because I'm going to be going up to, actually I won't say where I'm going because I don't want to sort of dox myself. But I'm going on a quick trip on Saturday somewhere to go see a friend. I won't say where, but I'll reveal where I went to after. I guess maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about it. I'm rambling because I'm a bit tired now, and I'm always bad with outros. But yeah, expect more podcasts soon. Essentially, that is what I'm gonna do. Also for YouTube, I swear I'm editing stuff more than just my weekly worship stuff. I just have not been doing enough. Been doing less than I should. I'm going to also start a weekly MLB like recap short series. So it's going to be like, 1 to 2 to 3 minutes long, essentially. So similar stuff that what you can expect on this, but a lot more condensed, a lot more, bit more joking in the sense, here and there. So expect those as well. I've just scripted and recorded the first one. I need to start editing there, but luckily editing for that doesn't take too long. That will probably come out on Thursday because I have weekly worships to edit and post tomorrow. So that'll do it. Thank you very much for listening.